What's up, everybody? It is quarantine day 11 for me and day 6 of my Boomerang Scratch Practice. So, as we said yesterday, instead of setting a BPM goal, since I'm still kind of rough at 95 to 100 BPM, today I'm going to practice to improve that. And that's what we're going to spend our time on today. So, let's start with the solos to warm up, and then we'll start at 95 BPM. Go a little louder. All right, let's start the beat. Whoops. Keep forgetting on record box, the loop shuts off when you hit a hot cue. So. All right, let's bring it up to 97.5. I'm going to bring it down to 80 just to get my old flow back. Okay, back to 95. Want this beat a little louder. Here we go. Yeah, it feels a little easier for me today than it was yesterday. Yesterday was a struggle, and I think I was reaching a little too far. And there's nothing wrong with reaching far, but we tried to make yesterday the goal 105, but right now we got to work on 95 to 100. Okay, bring it to 97.5. Ah. 100 BPM. Hundred still kind of difficult. Alright, moving my butt. Starting to get numb. I feel a little bit more comfortable at 100 than I was yesterday. Still a little, like, it's rough, but it's like, oh, I got this now, rather than, oh, I'm gonna lose it. Okay. Still babies out a little bit. And to think 6 days ago, we were at half this BPM. Ever since yesterday, when I seem to have acquired that one extra note in there somehow, just maybe the way I'm dragging it, it hasn't gone away. Even when I do it slow now, it's there. See, like when I go to 80 BPM. See, it's like I like that extra note because it sounds a little faster. Ah. Which jog do I prefer? Well, I'll be honest, it's a bit easier on the touch sensitive DDJ 800 because there's a lot more resistance. On the mechanical pressure sensitive XDJ 1000, which is basically a CDJ jog wheel. But it's funny because it depends what tempo actually. I like using the more resistant jog wheel, the bigger one, when we're going slow because my hand likes to just take off, and the bigger jog wheel makes that easier, while the smaller jog wheel is just too loose. Perfect. Little loose, but I had the timing right, but it was just a little like slappy sounding. Babied out. Again, that term it means when you're trying to do a scratch, but it ends up sounding like a little bit more like a baby scratch than what you're doing. So I say it babied out. Yeah, a little babied out there too. Little baby there. All right, break time. Let's do other scratches just to kind of reset. Crabs. I kind of call that like the giddy up crab. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Transformers. So for me, when I first started scratching, I always sounded slappy until a year later. I was practicing every day. Until a year later when I went on my opposing hand, and I'm left-handed, so left fader on the left. I went on my opposing hand and I accidentally came across this chirp scratch. I knew how to do it, but no one ever told me back in 98, 97 that it's supposed to be at the tip of the sample, and I was always like, it doesn't sound like how it sounded like on the Invisible Scratch Pickles video, because when I do it, it was like, then I just accidentally came across this. And then it changed my whole scratching from there on. Like, I was finally, like, sounding like I knew what I was doing. Feeling a little bit of arthritis today. Okay, back to boomerangs. I don't know why I started doing a Joe Cooley instead of a boomerang, so... did I start DJing? Well, I don't really consider myself a DJ, but I did start mixing music. Well, I started when I was 11. I'm turning 37 soon. But I didn't get my first club gig till I was 19. And a friend of mine worked for the promoter. It was at Club Envy. Shout out to Rodrigo Gueda, who was the first promoter to hire me. He's out in LA now. Yeah, arthritis is really bothering me today. It's like on this finger. It usually doesn't bother me on the crossfader hand because I'm left-handed, and until I start playing guitar. Oh, by the way, that's an advantage I had. I'm a lefty who plays guitar like a righty, which puts the neck of the guitar where you have to have the most dexterity on, where my left hand is. So this hand gets a lot of exercise when I play guitar to be ready for the crossfader. And when I was younger, when I was 12 years old, learning how to cut and learning how to play guitar at the same time, it kind of helped each other. Had a little silent part there, but wasn't bad. Dang, we've been doing this for a week, starting at half the BPM. I think it's going to be a little while before I can start doing triplets. Gotta perfect these doubles at 100. Because we didn't even hit our goal yesterday of 105. Ooh, rough. Okay. On the big jog wheel, it sounds so much cleaner when I'm at the tip of the scratch. I don't know if I said that yesterday. Let's try it on the small jog wheel. Yeah, it's something exclusive to the big jog wheel because of the resistance. I need to be more inside the sample when I'm using the small jog wheel. Okay, farther inside the sample. So today there's no BPM goal. What it is I'm trying to perfect 95 BPM to 100 because we had a goal of 105 yesterday. So right now I'm trying to get it to the point where 100 isn't so hard, and it does feel a little easier today because I'm starting to find the sweet spots on each jog wheel. Like, for example, like I mentioned shortly ago, being at the tip of the scratch with the big jog wheel makes it sound a little cleaner instead of being inside be in the beginning. See what I mean? And we just discovered that today. But when I'm using the small jog wheel, I gotta be a little bit more inside the sample. And we don't even know how this is gonna translate once I start doing it on time code records. This is good because yesterday I was struggling at 100 and now we kind of got a flow to it. But today we will challenge ourselves. I'm going to bring it up to 102.7. No, 102.5. Sounded like a radio voice again. 102.5. Every speed got like a different position for my hand like this. It's like so much better when I rest my fingers on the body of the controller. We might hit 105 today. Baby it out a little bit. Gotta be farther in. Yes, I found the sweet spot on the big jog wheel. I was struggling on it for a while. Yes, we are at 102.5 BPM, and we didn't even set a goal today. So let's set a goal now. Let's see if we could get up to 110. I'm gonna bring this to 105, which was yesterday's goal that we failed to get to. I always say we because you guys were with me. Some of you guys were with me. Oh, we got it. Okay, let's try it. 105 BPM. We gotta apply what we learned about the big jog wheel closer to the beginning. Ooh, we got it, 105 BPM. And it took a little bit of practice improving 95 to 100 earlier today. We're probably going to end this stream at 12:15. It is 11:55 p.m. Basically, my goal is to practice 45 minutes a day, 30 minutes if I don't have a lot of time. Yesterday we went an hour. A little sloppy. wax means playing on vinyl or on turntables. But congrats on the DJI SB3. That's the controller I use for my gigs, all my gigs, including music festivals. I love it. It's like, to me, it's not an entry-level controller. It's a portable controller that I can fit in my suitcase when I fly out to some of my out-of-town gigs, and it gives me a lot more room to put my guitar effects and processors. And yeah, I get laughed at for it. You know, oh well. I wish I could just have like every jog wheel size here, like have the SB3 over here, have the DJI 800 here, have a CDJ jog wheel here, and somewhere wherever it fits, have like a turntable, you know, so I could just practice on all four. Ooh, sloppy. Not good. Do I have a favorite scratch combo? To be honest, this is probably the most complicated scratch I've ever tried to learn. And for me, like, usually my combos are just switching from like a chirp to a forward to a fast baby, like, which is called a Joe Cooley. It's old school, like Philly style scratching, the Jazzy Jeff stuff, or like what you hear, the scratching in Baby Got Back. It doesn't sound all that great at 105 BPM, but when I'm playing house music at 128, yeah. I like doing that style at upper BPM levels. Okay, so we're at 105 BPM. We actually we hit yesterday's goal, and we weren't even trying to do that today. But we made a new goal of hitting 110. Ooh. And I gotta admit, this is the hardest scratch I ever tried to learn. Like the crab, I don't remember struggling like this with the crab. But I learned the crab when I was experimenting with hamster, and then I didn't really get it down until I didn't have a curve control on the mixer that I had. I just had one of those replaceable faders with supposedly a sharp contour, but it was like still far anyway. I had an old Gemini mixer. And then when I started messing with Rain mixers, like the Rain TTM 54, I think it was like the one smaller than the 56, or was it a 52? I don't know. I don't exactly remember, but those older Rain mixers was what got me loving to crab in a regular crossfader configuration, non-hamster. So like I said, at 100 BPM, it's easier to do on the big jog wheel when I'm at the tip. At 105, that's starting to apply to the smaller jog wheel. So basically mentally, I have to remember when I'm in slower BPMs, be inside the sample. Upper BPMs, be at closer to the beginning. So what was the hardest thing for you guys in the live chat? What's the hardest thing that you ever had to learn when you started spinning? Like specifically a technique, not just like, oh, I had some time with beat matching. Like what was it, you know? Because I'm sure everybody had something where they were like struggling with. For me, was open fader scratches. That's why I wanted to do a boomerang, because I can't open fader in standard configuration. I used to be able to do it. Well, I can still do it in hamster, but you don't always have the switch on every controller, especially on a 2-channel. Ooh, a little rough, because I was inside the sample. Babied out. Ooh, that started really clean until it got a little rough at the end, but it was acceptable. I was really happy with how that started. Out. All right, we're gonna take it up to 107.5 BPM. Why do I keep saying it like that? Ever since I got that in my head, it sounds like radio frequencies. 107.5. Okay, goal today, 110 BPM. Leave it out. Give it a break. Not feeling the arthritis anymore. Probably because my finger's numb now. You know what? In like maybe a little over 20 years, this is the most I've ever practiced scratching. These last 6 days. real clean. A little sloppy. All right, let's get up to 110 BPM, which was today's goal. And today's goal was decided earlier today when I felt more comfortable at 95 to 100. It was okay. You know what's funny? Weren't we just talking about how there's like there was a barrier at 95 to 100? It's just practice. I really did, like, if you told me 3 days ago that I was going to be doing this at 110 BPM, I would be like, no way. There's no way. Because right now, that's how I feel about 120. You know what's helping me zone out is I'm looking at my OBS display and I'm just looking at my hand my hand right here, and it helps me focus on something where I'm not thinking about this, which is kind of funny because it's still what I'm doing, but it keeps me from over concentrating, which usually messes me up. Whew. You said the 2-click flare hurt your fingers a lot. Yeah, there's a lot that can happen when you're practicing. And then it's kind of funny because after you kind of train with that, then you're like, oh, I'm struggling with this. Then you decide by accident, maybe you just got tired, you relax your hand, and all of a sudden you're getting the scratch down. and you know, it takes a long time to get to that point, but yeah, there's some scratches that'll really like mess you up. I've actually seen a fella, like, his hand like basically like tensed up and it was stuck, and he's like, I can't even open my grip. And then he slowly had to just massage his hand open, and then he finally got his dexterity back. That was kind of scary, actually. We didn't know, like, we were like, oh, did you just injure yourself, you know? So make sure to always rest when you're doing this, because this, especially when you're doing advanced scratches, it could injure you. Because by the time you know, like, what you realize once you know how to scratch is a lot of these scratches are done really, really relaxed. Like, my crossfader hand is not, there's no pressure on it. It like, I think it only hurt me the first day trying the boomerang, but after that, once I had that rhythm down, it was just always hand just laying there. The thing that's different about the boomerang is I'm not using my middle fingers. I'm just using my index finger because you have to do a light little transformer click in there. Ooh, I like that one. When you first started beat matching, you were trying out like styles like Jam Master Jay. And yeah, his scratches back then were like what I often refer to it as the pre-Jazzy Jeff scratches, you know, like, you know, that stuff where it was just mostly forwards and babies. And like, yeah, those were pretty simple to do back then. Like if you listen to the original Peter Piper, it's a lot of baby scratches. You know what I don't know? Now that I think about it, I have no idea who invented the Boomerang Scratch, and it's considered a modern scratch. Like if like Grandmaster Flash was like first generation scratching, you know, like the Grand Wizard Theodore, like, you know, very first, and then Jazzy Jeff was second generation, and then you got the Q-Berts, Mixmaster Mike, where you're doing a lot, you know, DJ Flair doing the open fader. It's third generation. And this is just how I'm categorizing it. I'm not saying this is how it's officially considered, but the Boomerang would be like a fourth generation scratch, and I have no idea who made it. Something I need to research. But if you guys know who it is, please leave it in the live chat. All right, so let's just freestyle as we close this up. Oh, you know what we haven't tried? Doing the boomerang on the fresh sample. I'm trying to do my normal scratches with the boomerang. All right, so 110 BPM. Tomorrow, let's set a goal of 105. Today, what we were doing was 95 to 100 just to get that down, and we had a lot. Once I started feeling comfortable with that, I was like, hey, we have a lot of time. Let's try to bring it up to 105. We hit yesterday's goal today, and we exceeded yesterday's goal today. So tomorrow, let's try to get to 115. But also, we're going to start at 105, build it past 110. I think I need to do this consistent. Start a couple BPM slow, and then build it with momentum into the goal. That way, I'm not gonna start off at 110 right off the bat tomorrow. I'm gonna have to build it from either 100 or 105. So that's what we'll do. Anyways, if you guys got any more questions. I don't think both sides of my brain are working fully to scratch. I don't think either side of my brain is working fully to scratch. Like, to be honest with you, like, it's like when it's working is when you're not scratching the best. It's like when I don't think is when it comes out. Like, whenever I get a clean one, I'm not focused on it. It's when I start like, oh, am I doing this right? That's when everything goes to crap. I think the latency, yeah. So I could set it faster, but it might glitch, especially since I have the live chat on a browser. But I'm really used to working with the 5 millisecond latency. Like, I've been on that since, when did I start Serato? 2011. So like, I'm used to the cut lag, and I don't really notice it, to be honest. Like, if I were to get on vinyl, like actual vinyl, and start cutting, it doesn't feel different for me when I'm at roughly around 5 milliseconds. So DJ Pro 2, their latest update, messed up the key lock. What exactly happened? Did it start sounding weird when they... I don't know. I've never used Algorithms DJ. So... And the reason is because I don't have an up-to-date iPad. I actually want to explore it. So DJ Flair invented the boomerang? I'll definitely look that up. That's pretty cool, because that... You know, the guy who basically created the open fader scratches with his flare scratch created the more advanced boomerang. And it's kind of funny, I can't flare. Like, a couple of days ago, we were practicing how to flare. Yep. But it just kind of evolved into like focusing on just getting the boomerang down. Yeah, definitely need to check that out. Not to start any rumors about Algorithm DJ Pro. Their platform's pretty cool, and I know a lot of people like to spin on it because you can use Spotify. But I read an article, something about I don't want to start any rumors, but I read something about DJ software and Spotify. Something, I'd say just do your own research on that. Don't want to, yeah. Oh, it used to match the BPM, now it don't. Probably have to look into that. If it's a problem, like, just contact every software company always has some form, like Serato has one, like a help form, where you actually email your problem to them and just let them know, because they'll fix the glitch, Like, all the companies have been good with that. I've actually gotten on the phone with New Zealand about HID mode with Serato DJ, because so here's a little story. At the club I had, it was called Jokers. They got brand new CDJ 2000 Nexuses. And it was the Nexus. It was Nexus 1s. And I was excited because I was like, yes, I can use Scratch Live, which was Scratch Live was the software back then. I can use Scratch Live in HID mode on these. Nope. It took them about 6 months until I finally had HID mode, and I was like, yes, I got HID mode. Then by the end of the year, late 2013, early 2014, that's when Serato DJ got introduced. So I started experimenting with Serato DJ. Then I set up HID mode with the CDJ 2000 Nexuses, and once again, there was an issue. But it's not that it didn't work, but there was a huge lag on the jog wheel. Like, I mean, like insane, like 25 milliseconds. Like, there's no way you could scratch on it. And I complained about it. And, you know, the guys from Serato were like, yeah, we're aware of the issue, but it's going to be a while because it's not the top priority right now. So it took about 3 updates in about, I would say, in another 6 to 8 months. I don't remember exactly, but I know it was under a year. And then they got it going. So, yeah, software companies will update it. But, you know, their engineers are always working. So they got a lot on their plate. And these companies aren't like huge corporations like Microsoft or Apple, you know. So they got like probably like a normal business office, and all their engineers are there, you know. So I've never seen it for myself, but just let the guys at Algorithm DJ Pro, let the guys at Algorithm know that you're having that issue. So what time for tomorrow? Tomorrow's gonna be, it's just gonna be whenever, because I usually do my practices around like whenever I'm done with all my work, because I don't want to get stuck just cutting up. Like it's gonna be too much on my mind if I got work to do and I'm trying to practice. It'll just mess me up. So it'll be between 11 and 1. So I'm sorry if I can't give you an exact time. Is Joker's the club in Toronto? No, it's here. It's no longer around. It was here in downtown Des Moines in Iowa. I'm actually from Iowa. What's written on my t-shirt? I am not a DJ. Don't ask about the music. Yeah. So, can I request a song? Sorry, I'm not a DJ. Alright guys, really appreciate you for joining me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay healthy.